no two bloodsuckers die the same way. Some explode, some implode.
And I can't remember what he says. I know he does say that.
Some unplode, some replode.
No, he doesn't say that. Does it? No, it doesn't say that. It says explode or implode. I don't know who says that.
Hi, welcome to Bencher Movie Club. I'm Charlie.
I'm Ben.
And in this episode we are talking about Lost Boys from 1987, directed by Joel Schumacher, who also directed Falling Down, which had Dee Pfeiffer in it.
Did you? Oh,
she's in Falling Love. Yeah. And Phone Booth. You seen Phone Booth?
No.
Which is Colin Farrell stuck in a phone booth. And
it sounds familiar, and I can't think.
So he's next to a phone booth, and it starts ringing in New York, and he picks it up, hello, and it says, and basically says, if you leave that phone booth, I'm going to kill you. This voice, and all these people are getting killed around him, and the police think it's him, and they're shouting at him, get out of the phone box. He goes, I can't get out of it.
It's got Whoopi Goldberg in it, and she gets dragged along the street in the phone box.
No. I don't know what you're thinking of. No, and it turns out it's Kiefer Sutherland who, of course, is in this.
Okay. I only realised recently that his dad is Donald Sutherland. Because just because you've got the same surname, but then when you look at his face, he's very similar looking to his dad.
We always, me and Adam, when we're trying to throw each other off, we say, who's that famous British actor? You know, that... And we go, I don't know who, and we talk about him. He's not British, obviously, but he was born in London.
Kiefer Sutherland,
yeah.
Is his dad British?
No.
His dad's American as
well.
But
obviously his mum was over here when she gave birth. You know,
okay, was his mum English?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Alright, don't matter.
Right, this film stars Jason Patric, who's in Narc and Sleepers. He's the big one there.
Yeah.
Michael. He actually ran off with Julia Roberts in June 91, days before she was due to marry his best friend, Kiefer Sutherland.
I read that. Also, I'm surprised watching him that he wasn't in a lot more films because he's a very classically handsome, very good looking 80s.
And he's a good actor.
And at that time, this film would have catapulted him. I would have thought he would have then continued to make a lot more sort of well-known films that you go, oh, he's in this, he's in that. Like he could have easily done the same line as like Tom Hanks and stuff like that.
Or even Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah.
He could have had a similar career to him. But I think it was a number of things. One is bad choices sometimes, some of the films you do.
Yeah.
Because he was in Speed 2.
Oh, so I don't know him from any other films.
Have you seen Sleepers? Brad Pitt.
Is that the one where they put each other under? Julia Roberts is in that, isn't she?
No, that's Flatliners.
Sleepers
is Brad Pitt, Robert De Niro.
Where they was all molested by the...
He's the lead in that.
Oh,
He's the lead guy in it. But obviously you don't...
So that was another big film then. That was quite a big film, wasn't it? Or not?
Well, it's fairly big, but during the mid-90s there were so many huge films that it was sort of...
Right.
He was there and thereabouts. He was doing films, but... I'll take these off, I can't see. But I, probably done him a bad thing, him running off with Julia Roberts. Because there's loads of people thought, that's a bit out of order, do that with your best friend's fiance. Days before they get married, ran off to Ireland. And obviously, they did make up. About 10 years later, they became good friends again. Kiefer Sutherland, who of course is in loads of things, he's Stand By Me, Young Guns. He reconciled with him 10 years later. His look was based on Billy Idol. He see Billy Idol and he thought, I quite like that hairstyle. And you got Corey Haim, who's in Lucas and Licence to Drive.
Yeah.
Sadly,
he was really good in this.
Yeah, he's really good actor.
He was a really good. It's such a shame that you look at him and you think that him and Corey Feldman, a lot of youngsters was all bloody being abused at these times. By all these executives and Hollywood fucking producers and whatever. But and it was such a shame because he was so good in this film. I think this is like one of his best performances. He's really funny, he's really likeable, and he's a really good little actor.
And he sadly died of pneumonia in 2010, age 38.
Yeah, no age is it?
But he was allegedly abused at the age of 14. He'd been tricked into engaging in a painful session of anal sex by a man on the movie set of Lucas. He'd told him that sex between men and boys was normal in Hollywood. And this all came out after his death, care of his best friend.
Is that ever proved? I mean, I do believe there's lots of stuff that happened to him because, and it makes sense because he sort of spiralled, and a lot of them do. Like her out of Can't Buy Me Love. Same thing happened to her. She was abused, wasn't she? You know, is it Amanda Peterson, the blonde girl, and also Corey Feldman. He spoke out about it a lot.
But yeah, it came out via Corey Feldman after his death, because on the set of this, him and Corey Feldman became best mates.
Yeah.
And then it was the start of what was called the Two Coreys, because they've done a number of films together.
Yeah, I think this is probably the most successful out of the films they've done together.
Oh, 100%.
They've done a film called Licence to Drive, I don't think I've ever seen.
No.
But it's a very 80s film.
Yeah. And Corey Feldman, of course, before this had done Goonies, Gremlins.
He's got a really good back catalogue.
His child acting career and Stand By Me.
Yeah. The best, even if he just stopped after doing them, you'd be like a legend.
Well, exactly. Loads of people would have gone, wow, what a great actor. And he stopped when he could have carried on a big career. But some people just, I mean, even Corey Haim, when you see him in later years, you think, well, you can see it's them, but they don't, it's almost like they don't develop into proper adults. They don't change, their appearance doesn't really change. It's almost like the stunted growth, which probably helped them in these when they was younger, because they thought, oh, then they look really cute and like little kids. They probably looked younger than what they were.
Well, like
anyway.
Macaulay Culkin, as soon as he got to like 10 or something, he was no longer wanted in Hollywood. It was like, as soon as, well, not 10, probably about like 15 or whatever, 14. It's like he had a very short career, a really successful career, and he was really big. But imagine being that big at such a young age that by the time then you've peaked before you've even got to your teens, kind of thing, and then that's got to be damaging to a child.
And also all the drugs and stuff.
And that's why a lot of them do. Like Drew Barrymore, she's the only one that really pulled herself up from it, I think, really. Drew Barrymore, and you know, I think she's like the one that really, she's a good example of what someone that fought it and
straightened herself out.
Yeah, she did.
Because Corey Feldman, he was nearly fired from this because he turned up on set on marijuana and cocaine. And he said that him and...
But who's got them all started on that? Like Drew Barrymore, when she was about 11, 12, was given cocaine. It's like someone gave these kids cocaine. Someone wasn't looking after these kids. And that's like... And as a parent, I'm sure, if your daughter was like a successful actress at these ages, you would be there, you would be hands-on, and you would be making sure that she is not doing this kind of thing.
There's loads of people out there just care about money. And they think, oh yeah, my child's a little sort of meal ticket for me. You want them to do all that, it's fine, I don't care, just keep the money coming. They don't care about the child's welfare. Him and River Phoenix were apparently introduced to drugs during Stand By Me, because that was obviously a few years
ago. River Phoenix, there's another one that died. He died, I think, was he 20s? In his 20s?
Yeah, I think he's 23, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, outside the Viper Room, famously.
See, we look at all these films with like all this fondness of all these brilliant films. Oh, you're so lucky to be in it. But all these, the tragedies of these poor children.
Yeah.
What they had to go through, and as a child, you don't know what's right and what's wrong. And if someone important is telling you that you've got to do this, got to do that, and you don't know, I don't. It's just really sad. But luckily, I think it's less now because people are more aware now. But it's just sad for this lot, for that generation of when we grew up. You know.
You've also got Diane Wiest, plays the mum. She's in Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, you know what? When I see her, I looked at her and I thought, oh, I know her from somewhere. And first of all, I thought it was what's his name?
Hannah and her sisters.
Woody Allen's wife.
Not
his daughter wife. What's that one? Mia Farrow. Yeah, right. You know the one that. Is it Rosemary's Baby?
Yeah,
She's got that look about her.
It's the pixie sort of cut thing.
Might be that as well, but also she's really good. Yeah, and I know she's been in a couple of films, but I know
she actually won an Oscar just before this.
Actually, yeah. I know she's in lots of stuff, but I sort of thought that she would be in more well-known things that I know, and I'm sure she is. I know she was in what was it you showed me with Edward Scissorhands, but I thought she would have had more big-name films like Mia Farrow, because I think she's a lot.
Yeah,
bigger. She's a really good. She's a good actress.
I think all the actors. I think the performances are brilliant. They're unbelievable. Yeah, you've got Edward Herman, who of course is in Annie.
Yeah,
he's really good. He really loved playing the part because he said before that he was always the straight-laced person. He was always the upstanding person, which he liked the idea. Yeah. Spoiler alert for Lost Boys that he turns out he's the vampire. Yeah, he's the bad guy.
And I was confused with that because I remembered. I thought I'm sure he was a baddie, but then when he's the holy whoop, when they pour the water on him and the garlic and all this, and I thought, oh, maybe I've got it wrong because it's been, I'd say, Probably
years.
about the 90s, maybe, when I last see this film.
But that's what's good about it. I think how they mislead you with him is really good, because obviously it's got him in the video store and the boys come in. And he's like, I told you not to come in here. It's like he's got the hump with them. And you think it's just like a store owner, weary of them.
Yeah.
You know, so it does it does misplay it quite well, because apparently I know the film so well that obviously I know what's going to happen each time.
Yeah.
But apparently loads of people, when they first watched it, they assumed the head vampire was going to turn out to be the granddad.
Yeah, see, that's another thing as well. I'm fault that the granddad killed him, because the granddad was a vampire as well. And I'm thinking, is there an extended version?
No.
Because it ends
With him saying why, yeah.
Yeah, like, and he goes to the fridge and they're going, Dad, and he's drinking, he goes, saying about vampires. And it ends.
It says one thing I couldn't stand about Santa Carla is all the damn vampires.
Yeah, and
then
it ends.
The fridge closes and the ghost dies. I think it's a great ending, because it shows that he knew about it the whole time.
But I felt that, I'm sure that there was another ending where he was a vampire. But maybe that's
funny enough, there was like some spin-offs and stuff, like a spin-off comic things where they tried saying he was a half vampire and stuff. But it's like this has got sequels which are terrible.
No, we'll just concentrate on this one. I mean,
No,
a lot of sequels, it's about the money. Whereas the film, we always go with the original film. Because sequels are usually, right, that done so well, we're going to sort of change the story a little bit and twist it around a bit, and we're going to add this, add that, and then we're going to make it, like with Halloween, perfect example. That was a one-off. Whereas it made so much money, then they just thought, right, we'll make it so that it's her brother.
Yeah.
And we'll film a couple of scenes, add them into the first film, and then we'll just go down this path of, and it's really should just left it as it is, because even when they done that reboot a couple of years ago, and I thought, this is going to be great, these new Halloween films, because all the original people's back on board, and I thought, finally. And it's like,
really balls it up.
No, you balls it up, because then they tried to make the money out of it by stretching it into 3 films. They should have gone, right, we're going to make this into 1 film, we're going to have 1 really good script, and that's it. It's not like none of them really need the money, it's just greed, and it becomes like a bit of a joke, like the way the very last bit of the Halloween ends. It's like Michael Myers is so weak and he's taken over by this boy.
Up by this little boy.
And you're thinking,
You know what? I don't want to digress too much, but the thing about those new Halloween films, I watched the first one. I thought, okay, that's all right. I watched the second one. I actually enjoyed the second one. It was just loads of people getting killed, and I thought it's building up to the third one.
Yeah.
I watched the third one. I really enjoyed the opening.
Yeah.
The fact that it wasn't him, it was an accidental death, people panicking.
Yeah.
And then it had this really good intro, and I remember sitting in the cinema thinking, they're going to do it. They're going to knock out the park. As soon as those opening credits finished, it turned into the biggest pile of shit I've ever seen.
It's like they got lazy. It's like they go, that'll do. I'll just put that in.
Yeah,
put that in. It's like...
I'll slag that off when we do Halloween. Okay. You got Jamie Gertz. I think she looks a bit like Joanne. Your mate Joanne now. Don't you think? Look at her face. Something about her.
Yeah. A dark-haired version.
Jamie Gertz, who was in 16 Candles.
I don't remember in 16 Candles.
She played Robin in 16 Candles.
I will recognise if I see it again, but I don't recognise her from this.
Alex Winter, who his most famous thing was Bill and Ted with Keanu Reeves.
I recognise his face. Yeah, he's one of the vampires. But that Jamie Gertz, I like the fact with her. She got married, I think, 2 years after this, and she's been with him ever since. And she's got 3 sons. Yeah. And I thought, how cool would that be to, like, when them kids go, like, yeah, my mum's Star out of Lost Boys.
Yeah.
You know, because she's a good character in it, and she's like, she's really pretty as well. And it's nice to sort of see that. So in 1987, I think she got married to some bloke, and is still with him, and has got 3 grown-up sons, probably grandchildren as well by now. You know.
I see. I would rather be.
I like that. I like the little happy ever after sort of things.
I'd rather be in one really good film than about 20 crap films.
Oh yeah.
20 films which people forget.
Hands down, because you will always be remembered for that. People go, oh my god, I love that film so much, rather than going, oh yeah, I think I've seen it. Oh, I don't know. It just goes and it disappears as time goes on. It just disappears. Whereas a classic film, even if you've only got one line or a couple of lines in it, or you're a certain character, they go, I remember you in it, because people would have watched it so many times, they will know, they will remember you in it.
This has got a big following for this, and where it was filmed in Santa Cruz, which is the murder capital of the world. It's been called the murder capital of the world because it had 4 famous serial killers all living there.
In real life?
In real life.
Oh.
So that's why they thought it's a great setting for the film. But then obviously Santa Cruz said, we don't want to be associated with that. So they changed it to Santa Carla. However, after the film came out, everyone goes to Santa Cruz for the anniversary of Lost Boys. Like, you got a big fan base.
It's good for the
so
sound.
now, hindsight, they think, you know what?
Yeah.
We wish you hadn't bothered changing that.
didn't
It's
know.
easier for people to find us then.
Yeah, but at least they still get something out of it because people, die-hard fans will find out where it was filmed, and it's easy now on the internet. You know, just Google stuff.
You've also, lastly, you've got Timmy Capello, who was the saxophonist on the beach. He was actually Tina Turner's saxophonist during the 1980s.
Okay, well, why have you brought him up? Is he just?
He's famous.
Oh, is he?
Because he's quite iconic for that scene. Because he's just so over the top, such an 80s scene with this topless man playing the saxophone on the beach, shaking his hips, with all these trash cans on fire, and everyone's enjoying themselves. It looks like a fun place to be.
Yeah.
Funny enough, this film is actually one of the reasons I moved to Eastbourne. When I moved to Eastbourne.
What, you're hoping for vampires?
No, but I just love the idea of living on the beach.
Yeah.
Little coastal town with like fun things.
I will end up somewhere when I finally get to a certain age. I will end up on a beach. I need to be that kind of by a beach, by this kind of thing. I'll tell you what I like about it. I like the idea that it gets really busy as well certain times of the year, so you can just walk out into it, you can people watch, and you can just see life go by, and then you can sort of see all the different seasons when it quietens down. You can go down by the beach even when it's in winter, and it's beautiful still. You know, you can get something out of each season, but I'm just not ready for that yet. I need to go somewhere where there's a lot of life at the moment. But then once I'm sort of get to about maybe late 70s, I'm thinking maybe go down by the beach.
This is the thing. I moved to Eastbourne too soon, really. I'm glad I did.
You was in the 20s, weren't you?
Yeah. So to have our child down there, which is a nice area, it's called God's Waiting Room because loads of people, when they're old, they move there to the beach.
It's all like Miami.
The fresh sea
the
air.
English version of Miami, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then Miami wasn't what I expected. I thought Miami would be all like, when I went to Miami thinking, it's going to be all like overtired old people looking like prunes sitting on the beach. And it weren't. It's all really Hispanic, Miami.
Yeah,
it's really Hispanic. Yeah, and I thought, I think films make places feel like there's something completely different to what they actually are. Like, I think London is completely different to what people imagine it to be. And I think really, years ago, when you went to a country, it was like what you imagine it to be. But I think that we're all so mixed up now that everywhere is just the same. It all looks very samey. And in a way, that's quite sad because, there's no individuality of each country now. Do you know what I mean? Not in a bad way. I just feel that
it's like, what's the point of going anywhere?
Yeah, it must just go the same. It's the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
But
so what did you think of the film?
I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Oh, good.
I think this is... I thought I liked it. Yeah, I must have liked it years ago. But it's never really been on my radar. It's not one of the actual films I watched again and again. But this is probably the best time the most I've ever enjoyed it, should I say.
Yeah.
Because it was just a fantastic film. It was nice and short.
Yeah.
It was really well acted, really well cast, good storyline, funny bits in it.
Yeah.
Just everything you want from a film, and especially the fact that it's 80s. I love the 80s, don't I?
Yeah, and it is so 80s, like their style, everything they're wearing.
Yeah.
It's just like we said previously. Sometimes you can't recreate.
And the twists and turns in it, and all that. Is it him or is it what's going to happen to this one? And the little one-liners. I loved it. I really, really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. And I didn't think I was going to. I woke up at 5 the other day, and I thought, well, I best watch that film. I thought I can't really bluff it because I hadn't seen it for such a long time, and I'm really glad I watched it. I really enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed watching it, and loved it. Really loved it. Really
good.
Fantastic.
Well, obviously, I loved it because I put my number one, my favourite vampire movie.
And I know it's always been a big film. Everyone always loved it, and growing up, I know my mates it was all raving about it, and I liked it, but I think I was more into the John Hughes sort of type films and all that kind of, and also like the Shaw thing type sort of films at that time. But yeah, really good film. Really, really good film. And you can see why it's a classic.
And do you know how Kiefer Sutherland got the role? It's because Joel Schumacher see him in the background, almost as an extra in another film. It was in a Sean Penn film, and at the very end, it's this crowd thing, and you see his face. He went, "I really like how that." He didn't know who his dad was or anything like that. and they said, "Oh yeah, he's just doing a film called Stand By Me." He went, "Yeah, I want to bring him in to play
That's bad,
David."
isn't it?
And I think he does great in it.
He's really good.
He hasn't actually
They're all
got
really
any
good
lines.
though. They're all really good. All the characters are really well cast, and the acting is good. The special effects are good because they're not over the top. It's just they all look the same. They all look the same kind of vampire face. It's just really good film.
Do you know who done the special effects? Since you mentioned it,
No.
okay, it was Greg Cannon, who'd worked under Rick Baker on Thriller. He'd worked with him on Thriller.
Right.
He was reluctant to do it as he'd just finished working on a low-budget vampire film where he was the only experienced person on there, and it was Vamp. He was the only. So imagine like your makeup artist, you go on Vamp, and he said no one knew what they was doing, so he had to work really hard on Vamp. So when they came,
Vamp is good.
Yeah. He also worked on Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Oh, so see, that was the time to be a makeup artist. You know, round about these eras, it started changing, getting more. The special effects started being more CGI, and we both don't like that with CGI because no matter how good the CGI is, you can't beat proper like prosthetics. You know, like working with like latex and rubber and filming things in a certain way, and like. You know, like American Wealth in London, perfect example.
And because of this, he then thought, "Oh, actually, I'm not. You know, I'm happy to do vampire films." He went on to do Bram Stoker's Dracula, and Fright Night 2.
Oh, okay.
So he worked on Fright Night 2.
Yeah, all got good special effects. All of the films. I think if I'd been into like the movie industry when I was younger. That would have been an area that I'd have really been able to really get my teeth into. If I had had the equipment with me and the people around me, I would have loved to have done all that. Yeah. Special effects stuff would have been the area that I would have gone into.
Yeah, you've always still been able to, like I utilised that on my film when I got you to do special effects on that, didn't I?
Yeah, but I ain't got no skills, you know what I mean? But if I'd been brought up with...
You had skills, but you'd done it through, it was almost like self-learning. Like how Jimi Hendrix taught himself the guitar. Right. You learned it through watching documentaries and things like the thriller making of and stuff
just
like
in horror films with the makeup and like that's how I liked it, and looking at horror magazines like Fangoria.
But even if you had got into that, you wouldn't have had a career because by the time it was the 90s, it was all CGI. They was trying to push CGI.
Yeah.
You might have got the odd bit here and there. Well, I can do... And they go, no, it's cheaper for us to do it.
No, I think you should go back to that. I think you should go back to the original. Definitely. I think because there's so many talented people out there that could really do amazing things. And I think realistically, if you see something changing in front of your face, like with proper prosthetics and stuff... That is, you're never going to be able to look at faults in it. You're never going to find faults because they'll do it so well. Whereas CGI, you're always looking and go, oh, it's a little bit, it goes off a little bit there, or you can sort of see that's where that they've, you know, like there's always going to be off with it.
I've seen films like when I was researching for the vampire thing. I see the vampire films that made this century. Even things down to sometimes you can see, I can see they've digital their eyes. They've made their eyes look like. Yeah. See, like this, the contact lenses they wore in this, they were the old types. Yeah. No, like the ones like he wore in Thriller and stuff. Like the contact lenses they'd put in their eyes, they could only wear them for 2 minutes at a time because their eyes would dry out completely. And there's that bit, you know, the bit in the film when they kill Alex Winter.
Yeah.
And they're chasing them.
Yeah. And
Kiefer Sutherland's hand gets burned, he screams, and you see him sort of, and a tear runs down his eye. That was genuine because his eyes were in so much pain. And he got really pissed off, Jason Patrick, because when he signed, he was reluctant at first. Joel Schumacher pursued him for 6 weeks to do the part, and he said to him, "Oh, don't worry, you won't have to wear any vampire makdon't." And then eventually he got to
I'd want to do it. I'll do it if I have to wear vampire makeup.
Yeah, we would. But he was like, oh, I don't want, because he could see the pain that the others were in as well. And eventually he said to him, look, we can't do this scene. At the very end, you're fighting David. You've got to turn into a vampire a bit. So he reluctantly agreed to it, but he was happy he did because he.
Oh yeah, it's come out really well. So it's worth it in the long run, you know.
And everyone on the film, they've all speak highly of it. They all love it. They always go to conventions. Like I see one from a couple of years ago. And all the main vampires, like Jason Patrick, Kiefer Sutherland, Alex Winter, they all turn up at the convention. Really? They're all sitting there talking.
Oh, imagine how you'd feel. You know, if you was a real die-hard fan of it, and they're all there.
Yeah, but that's good because you get so many films where people sort of slag it off years later. Say like a...
Well, and really, it pisses me off when they do that, because a lot of the time, if it wasn't for that film, there wouldn't be nothing.
Which, like, I would say Kiefer Sutherland's probably the biggest actor to come out of the film.
He's the only one whose name you know.
Yeah, and he says it's one of the most important films he's ever made because it launched his career.
Yeah.
He really enjoyed it. He made a best friend on the film, even despite what happened afterwards.
Michael and David, and the friendship/rivalry between yourself and Mr. Patrick.
You mean the love story?
And the love story. And you guys are still good friends all these years later?
Yes, yeah. I mean, the last project that we worked on together was we did a play on Broadway called That Championship Season, which was written by Jason's father and won the Pulitzer in 1971. And
which I saw, and it was great.
Wow.
These two guys came and saw the play.
You know, so I really enjoy it all around. And like you say, I like the pacing, I like all the actors, and I love how it ends as well. Apparently, also,
it's okay. It's just I expected. I thought something else was going to happen, and I thought, I'm sure it was longer than this. I'm sure this is different.
No, I like that because it's almost like a punchline. Because the granddad's a joke character all the way through. He pops up. He has these silly little moments.
But he's always in his sunglasses, and I kept thinking, is he like a vampire?
I think it's a deliberate mislead.
Yeah.
So you feel like they get in the car, and he's if he's going to drive to town, he's like, "That's as far to town I want to get." Watching it the second time, you realise it's because he don't like all the vampires in town. And he's a bit crazy.
I feel sorry for that little group of people they kill.
Yeah.
And they're just having a little bit of fun by their little fire.
Yeah, the surfers.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually the first time you see them turn into vampires as well. Because you
just kill them all. It's not very graphic, which is good. Because otherwise then it probably turns into more of a horror film.
Well, the original cut was more graphic.
Was it really?
Yeah, like that bit on the I can
imagine the bit on the beach being
the head.
more.
Like you see where Kiefer Sutherland bites a head and it cuts away, but they'd made a false head. He right into.
Has there ever been a cut where they've got all the extended scenes in it?
I don't think so. Like even at the end, you know, like how Max dies, so the stake comes flying through, stabs him, and it explodes. That's it. Originally, they made this reconstruction of his body, and his body starts all like melting away and stuff like that. But they thought
that's a shame if you've done all that work on it and you don't even get to see it in the final product.
But at the end of the day, it's whatever works best as a film, because otherwise you'll be sitting there going, okay, it looks good, but it's slowing it down. I like the impact that happens. They're all so happy to be alive.
Yeah.
The Frog Brothers have that little, how much should we charge them for this? So you think, it's over, Dad. And you think, well, something's odd. And you don't realise, why did the granddad know to drive in? And it's been one thing I couldn't stand, all the damn vampires. And you think, he knew all along.
Yeah.
I watched it with Mum. She really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really liked it.
She at first, she's always sort of on her phone at first, and then she's sort of paying attention, and she's like, she didn't know what's coming.
Yeah.
She didn't. You don't know Max is the head vampire.
She probably has never seen the film as well, because she wouldn't have been sitting down watching films at that time. She was too busy sort of working and going out and whatever, at that time.
Do you know why it's called The Lost Boys as well?
No. All the people go missing.
No. It was originally a Peter Pan film. At the time, there was several films that were going to be made, like Peter Pan type movies. There was this. There was a modern reimagining called Neverland. One called Rat Lightning. One Steven Spielberg was working on, which eventually got made as Hook. Remember?
I never seen it.
No, it's okay. But this was originally, they was all kids, the Lost Boys, and they weren't vampires.
Okay.
But then they sort of changed it to vampires, and when Joel Schumacher got involved, he said, I want to make it, but can I change them from kids to like teenagers? I want to make them like sexy young teenagers, and they're like a gang and kind of thing, and the studio relented and let them get involved in it, And the studio weren't sure to make with it, because they watched the dailies and they'd say to him, is this a horror or a comedy? And he'd just go, yeah. Well, which one?
It's a little bit both, isn't it?
Which again, is one of my favourite genres, as I said, with Vamp and American Werewolf in London.
When it's done properly.
Yeah. When it's like
when it's forced.
No, when it's genuinely funny, but it's not sort of slapstick funny. Because this is like funny little lines, like when he finds out his brother's a vampire. And he's like, you wait till I tell Mum.
Yeah.
You think, that's the kind of reaction I would have had if I found out he was a vampire.
And then he's outside, he's floating outside the door, and he's down the phone. The Mum's at the restaurant going, I'll come home.
Yeah.
He's going to kill me, Mum. Yeah, no, it's really, really good film. I really enjoyed it. And I'm surprised that it wasn't bigger or higher up on my list, I should say, when I was younger, because it's a really good film. And maybe I just see it at the wrong time, or I was into different things at the time. But yeah, really good film. Really enjoyed it.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Now, you might see as well, executive producer on this is Richard Donner, who of course directed Goonies.
Okay.
He was the original director for this.
Okay.
But when things take a while, he says he's been in a number of projects, and if they're taking too long to get together, he loses interest and he jumps ship. So he jumped ship, but he still wanted to be part of it. He's one of the reasons, say, Corey Feldman was in it, because he knew him from working on Goonies. So he said, "You want to be in this film?" So he's got a big hand in this. But he he moved on to make Lethal Weapon.
Okay, yeah, that was another big 80s film, wasn't it?
And when he was attached, the budget was actually 20 million, because it was a lot bigger budget. But when he left, then they dropped the budget down. I don't know, it was like 8 million maybe.
Well, they've done a good job with the money then.
Oh yeah,
it's really good. Yeah, the order that the 4 vampires jump off the bridge is the order they all die.
Oh really?
Yeah. You never noticed that bit before?
No, I never noticed. I mean, I noticed that bit. I know them jumping off. Because you think
that's a good little
yeah, because from his
egg,
point of view, you know, obviously he's become friends with them. He's thinking, okay, well, this is a gang, and I'm new to town, and he's attracted to the idea of being hanging out with these people. And you know, when you're young and you do stupid things, imagine that they'll go, "Come on, we're hanging." And you think, "I don't want to pussy out." And then as the train's going over, you can see him going, "Oh, I'm going to fall," and the rest of them just laughing in your face.
And they'll drop, and you can hear them, and you think, "Oh, they're all safe."
Yeah, come on, Michael, jump. You think, and I love the bit where they sort of trick him into drinking the blood as well, because obviously they use reverse psychology. Because first of all they give him the rice, and you go, "How's the maggots?" And everything's like Mum went, "Ugh," and then when she went, "Oh, it's rice." Okay, so you sort of believe they get him once with the maggots, once with the worms, and then when they give him, "Go and drink this," and she goes, "It's blood." He thinks, "Yeah, all right, I'm not falling for it a third time."
And that's how he starts changing.
So basically, the David character, Kiefer Sutherland, is meant to be like Peter Pan.
Yeah.
That's the Peter Pan character, and they're all the Lost Boys. But they kept the name, and I like the name. I think it's good because it alludes to, you know, it is, because the idea of the Lost Boys, they never grow old, do they? So that's why this film's sleep all day, party all night, never grow old, never die.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't be like you said about, be young forever. And thinking, well, I'd be young now. I'd hate it. Like, I'm glad I'm the age I am. So I'd hate to be a youth in this day and age. So, you know, that doesn't appeal to me, being young forever. And also, you're going to lose everybody.
What about being 30 forever?
No, I wouldn't want it. Because why would I want to live forever? It's like, I think we're on this earth for just the right amount of time, because I think by the end, you're like, "Oh, I'm ready now." Because it changes so much. And to go through them changes continuously, it's like, but that's part of growing. You're growing. You know, and you're growing through certain ages, and you mature in certain ways as you get to certain ages. I think it's like, it seems fascinating when you're young to be young forever, but really, if you was, I think you'd be so bored. Like, look at the Death Becomes Her, when they're like, they stay young forever, and they're like, "Oh, should we do this? Oh, we've done that. We've done this before. Let's go to Paris. Oh yeah, well again." Sort of like, you know, there's only so many times you can go to the party, kind of thing. Yeah. And then it's like, I'm bored.
Yeah.
You know, you've done it
you
all
will
before.
get bored of everything eventually.
Yeah, everything, no matter how beautiful, how fantastic something is.
And so many new, so-called new things that come out, you think, I've seen this before.
Yeah, I've seen when it's happened first time round.
Yeah. It's like, I remember distinctly when Twilight came out, the first Twilight film, which was like 2000s, maybe 2008, something. And friend of mine, she was going like, "Oh, you'll love Twilight because it's they're all young vampires and this and this," and I went, "I'd rather just watch Lost Boys again."
Yeah.
You know, I've already had that. I don't need to see it again.
Well, you wouldn't want to be young forever, would you?
No.
I like the.
Unfortunately,
the
George
process.
got bitten by a vampire, didn't he? That's why he's young forever. My brother George.
But
no, I like the aging is just part of it. It's part of the journey. And you get other
and you learn
benefits
as you get into certain ages. You do mature and you change as the years go on. And I just couldn't think of nothing worse, really.
No,
I think it'd be tiring. You'd be like, "Oh God," and especially when you've got to watch all your loved ones die. Like, you have like little youngsters around, but then you're going to watch them die of old age, and you'll still be 30. You know, so yeah, no, it doesn't appeal to me.
You had the soundtrack to this, didn't you, on CD? I remember
our soundtracks to everything.
Yeah.
I remember when we lived at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know there was a club called Britannia, and you get 5 free CDs. And it was brilliant at the time. It was like, wow, I've got all these CDs, and I used to just be buying random CDs all the time.
And then sign up to
then used like you and our other brother George and Rosie, our sister, used to nick out me CDs all the time. George always used to, maybe not you, George always used to be like, well, I didn't know about it.
I'd listen to your CDs,
yeah,
but I wouldn't
nick them. No, not nick them, but I mean sort of like take them out of my room.
Yeah.
And I know that if you had known, I go, don't touch that.
Yeah.
But you used to take it. Well, that's what I'm saying. Not steal them, because you'd know full well that I would.
No, because I remember listening to the Lost Boys soundtrack, because that's got what they done.
Yeah,
with
that song, Dance Little Sister, Cry Little Sister.
It's Cry Little Sister.
That was a good.
Decker and the Bunnymen's People the Strange.
I like the one that Corey Haim is singing in the bath. Yeah, that's funny. You know, that's a good little catchy one.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. At the time of filming, Jameson Newlander, who portrayed Alan Frog, had chest hair, and despite being only 16, he gets pushed into the bathtub, and he grabs the Frog Brothers by the shirt. When Newlander was grabbed by his shirt, his chest hair was grabbed too, and he says the pain, you can see it in his face, was actually quite real.
Oh right, yeah, because they pushed one of the vampires into a bath of holy water.
Yeah, but obviously they've caught onto his chest there, so that's that he's used it. Like method acting. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this film though, Charles, so yeah, it's a good one.
Good.
Yeah, on IMDb, this film got 7.2 out of 10.
Okay.
On Rotten Tomatoes, it got 75% by the critics and 85% by the audience. Now, I thought that would have been higher by the audience and also by the critics.
Yeah, but I also think we find with many horror films, there's very few horror films that are highly rated. Can you think of any that...
That ain't a horror film, is it?
No, but any kind of horror element, some people just, oh, I don't like it, it's scary, it made me jump, you know?
Yeah.
And then there'd probably be a few people who came into it thinking, oh, I love all those sort of 80s teen films, and this is obviously off the like, you know, maybe they just watched Stand By Me and they thought, oh, well, I'll watch that. It's got two of the actors from Stand By Me in it, and watch it and think, oh, all these vampires, like, coming out of the darkness. Some people really have an adverse thing against horror films, I've found.
Pussies.
Yeah.
The budget was $8.5 million.
Yeah.
And in the box office, it made $32.5 million.
Oh, that's good.
So not bad.
No, it's not bad for
Not
a
bad
film
return.
which was R-rated.
Yeah, not a bad return at all. But yeah, classic film, and it still holds up today. Yeah, how old is it? 40 years.
Yeah, 40 years.
Near enough. 40
It's
years
crazy,
ago.
isn't it?
Yeah. 38 years ago.
All right. For the next episode, I'm actually going to go watch the new Superman film. And then I'll give a review of it, let you know if it's any good. Because I know you love your superhero films.
I don't mind. Listen, my Superman is Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
That's my Superman growing up. I don't know about any of the others. Don't even know the names of any of the others. My Superman is Superman 1, Superman 2. Is like,
Which was Superman 1 directed by?
Him?
Richard Donner.
Oh, was it really?
That's the one where Goonies. Because that's why, in Goonies, when Sly pulls the Superman thing, and it's the Superman music.
It's the same thing.
It's a reference to Richard Donner. Yeah.
Because, I like the bit when she's hanging there from the helicopter. And I like the bit when she's in the earthquake. And I remember as a kid, I had little cars. And I remember I was playing it in the garden, and I had a car, and I was crashing it into I made a little paper woman in the car, and I had it sort of all the rocks going in. It's stuck in me. Little things like that stick in your mind, didn't you, when you're a kid? Yeah. And part 2 with that little threesome, the group.
Terrence Stamp.
Yeah, they were brilliant. And when he becomes all weak, and then he becomes like a bad sort of Superman. It's brilliant, really good films. And he was a fantastic Superman. Yeah, he was perfect. So in my eyes, and a lot of people my generation's eyes, he's the original Superman. You know what? You had an obsession with people dangling from things, really, didn't you? Moonlighting. It's moonlighting. I know, but moonlighting. I remember the very first episode of Moonlighting, when she's hanging off that bridge, hanging off that clock tower. Yeah. I know, that was really well filmed for a pilot thing. If you look at that looks really good, the way they've done that. I don't know how they've done it, but it's really good. But
But like when you'd hang us from things, go and hold on to that, and then just let us hang there.
It's just being a big brother.
No, but I think it was just an obsession you had about something. Maybe you should look into it, find out what it means.
Maybe I died that way.
Maybe that's how you like to live your life, like on the edge.
Hanging on the edge, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Well, thanks for watching.
Yep. And
see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye bye. Bye bye.
When's the next time you're getting some? Motherfucker, I'm trying to watch The Lost Boys, you know? When I get some, I'll let you know.